Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwar, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambha, Shankaracharya Madhyama, Smadacharya Pajanda, Vande Guru Parampara. Om Shakanavavadu, Sakanavanaktu, Sakavidyam Karavavake, Tejasvina Madhidamastama Shavake. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogintram Tattva Jnana Pradam Guru Mumukshunam Hidarthaya Tattva Bodha Abhidiyate. So we are in the Tattva Bodha study, 9th session now. We will have a quick recap of what we did in the last session and take it forward. So in life, we always seek happiness. So we look for joy. We also fear. There could be tragedy, there could be fear, grief, sorrow. Sometimes we recall what has happened in the past. So like that, we are looking forward to something better, looking forward to avoid danger, reminiscent of what happened in the past. And in between, in the present, if we have some minor difficulties, we endure them. Simple pleasures, we enjoy them. So this is what life is all about. But if you really look at it, in all this fear, happiness, grief, everything is manifesting in the gross objects that we interact with. Is it not? So when somebody's action causes us grief, somebody's action results give us joy. It's not that I know your mind which is thinking bad about me and therefore I get hurt. No, I don't. They are sukshma. But when their actions come out, everything becomes gross, sthulam. Then we find happiness and sadness. Therefore, the material things, the material realities, the empirical realities, the transactional realities of the world is matters the most, because that's where our happiness and the fear and the grief emanate from. But then we want moksha, we want it to be completely insulated from all this, to be absolutely free. Therefore, it leads to a requirement that we understand the objects of experience, which is the material objects of the world and the relationship underneath. So unless we understand, we can't really get the freedom. Then by going through the study, we do see, even though I see the object is that gives me pleasure, I realize it is not the object itself is a pleasure-giving source. It is me, myself, superimpose a pleasure on that object. That as we grow older and mature and Vivekam comes in, we very easily prove that. Because the sweet which is sumptuous and enchanting to me is not liked by someone who's got diabetic. Even the look of it is give aversion to them. So therefore, this inert object of the sweet, the mithai, cannot be the power for creating happiness or sadness. It is one's one condition upon which we look at it. So this much of intellectual understanding comes in the worldly knowledge itself. That's why the wise people are told who are able to manage things dispassionately. But in Vedanta, we started understanding it. So what is the material world? What is the material object myself? And if I am that supreme bliss, why am I not feeling that so? So that's the process we started. And then we finished the Adhikaratvam, the qualification chapter. Now we are discussing the essential part of who I am. Atma Kaha. So The literal meaning of Atma is myself, I. So the question, which is a very simple question, which we seldom ask, we never ask because we believe we know the answer. But Vedanta asks you to go back and ask the question and get the right answer. So we asked the question to the Guru, Atma kaha? What is this Atma? And we learned in two ways, because Vedanta always points you to think through, to derive the answers by yourself. It tells you what is not Atma and what is the nature of Atma. So Sthula Sukshma Karana Sarirat Vyadiriktaha, that is not the gross body, subtle body, Karana body, not the Panchakosham. It is different from the Avasatraya, three different experiences. Sachidananda Swarupaha. So by asking one word, Atma, what is it? The Guru gave us Sthula Sukshma Karana, Panchakosha, there are 5, Avastatraya, another 3, Sachidananda, another 3. There are 14 new words he gave. So we know that in this Grantha, we learn by asking questions, getting a word as an answer, and then contemplating the word. Therefore, we had the responsibility of contemplating on 14 words. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Panchakosha, Avastatraya, Sachidananda. So we gone through this and we understood there are 3 bodies, gross body, subtle body, and a causal body. There are 5 sheets, the same bodies are laid down into sheets. We haven't studied that, but I think we heard about that. And 3 experiences. Experience in the real world, the so-called real world, the transacting world, the swapna, the dream, and sushupti. Because life is anubhavadhara, every experience contributes to your life definition. And Vedanta puts all the experience into 3 baskets. One basket is what you deal with the world, with all your bodies in action. Sthula Sarira, Sushma Sarira. Then Swapna, because you have experience of Swapna. Then you have a deep sleep. These 3 are called Avastha. So we are going to study those things. So by doing this statement say, you will find out that you are that Atma, which is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Eternal, effulgence. Effulgence means consciousness, awareness, and the bliss. You see, if I am eternal, if I am saying you are always there, okay, that's good. I'm not going to die. That's good. But so is the rock, so is the mountain. So what's the point of being an eternal Sat? Is it not? I don't want to be that. Then the Vedanta says, no, you are also Chit, effulgence. It is not like a insentient object, like a dust particle eternally staying there in the atmosphere. You are a conscious principle, intelligence principle. Then you may have a question, okay, that's better. I'm going to live forever with full of knowledge. What happens if this knowledge is going to give me sadness, ever grieving? That is hell. So no, you will be eternally blissful, Ananda. So therefore, there's a definition, assurance given. By knowing who you are, you become eternally blissful, all-knowing, beyond all the fear. But all this definition sounds like definition we give it to God. Therefore, there is a kind of a dichotomy we need to comprehend, and that's the next thing that we need to do. So from this we understand, I have an equation that I am the self. I understood myself as a mixed bowl. That's why I don't feel this eternal effulgence bliss. And this tells me that if I take this equation and discriminate with my intellect, that what I am not, use the word anatma, even though the text did not tell us that we can use the word anatma, atma, anatma. So if you add the an prefix, it becomes an antonym. So I am thinking myself as a mixture of my true self and not true self. Therefore, my job is to find out what is a not true self and deal with that accordingly. We can expand the equation because we now learned more about it. What I am is Satchidanandam, that's fine. What I am not is given in a Sarira-Traya, the 3 types of body. It is maybe also be seen as a 5 different sheath, Panchakosha, and giving experience of 3 different status. Therefore, if I have the as multiplication of these 2, get the multiplied effect. So the equation becomes I am equal to the Atma plus Sariratraya multiplied by the Panchakoshas and the Avasatraya. What's the point of solving the equation? If I am Atma, why can't I just take it in full faith and go? It's fine, we could do that. But we don't have that kind of a 100% total surrender Shraddha because our intellect has been tuned from the young age to accept things that are scrutinized by our intellect. Therefore, we have to go through this process of intellectual labor to prove that this anatma is null and void. So this is what we are doing now. Then we ask the first question, okay, what is the Sthula Sustram, Sthula Sariram, Panchikrita, Panchamahabodha, Kritam, Satkarmajanyam, Shuga Dukkadi, Bhoga, Ayatanam Sariram. I think we saw this last time. So let me just skip it. So basically what we saw, the gross body is what it is made of. What is the purpose of it? And why it is not me? That's a question we asked. So the Sthula Sarira means, Sthulam means gross, that you can see. Sukshmam is that you can't see. Karanam is the cause of it. I give an example. We were going to discuss this in great detail, but you must really understand this well. I go back to the Drishtandam. So if I draw a picture of Saraswati and I show it to you as a photograph, that's a sthulam to you, sthula chitram. You can see it. Is it not? Perceptible. But it was coming out of my thought. I thought about how to draw it. The picture was in my mind, which you did not see. So that's a sukshmam. But why the picture of Saraswati come into my mind? That must be a thought, a divine thought come to my mind by some reason. I don't know why the thought came to me. That is karma. So you take anything in the world that you see is sthulam, you can definitely find the immediate cause, which is sukshma, which is cannot see. Therefore, what you see is not just appearance. Appearance is deceptive. Anything you see has got something unseeable reason. So we take the body. You could have taken any body, an amoeba, an ant, or a scorpion, or a fish, or a horse, or a lion, tree. But we are humans. Jantuna Narajanmam Durlabham. So we have a human body. So let's look at our body. So this body have got visible things. We learned that this is made up of Panchikritam. So when you say Panchikritam, also Sthula Sariram. Panch means 5. Kritam means made up of. It's made up of a process based on 5 elements. Contemplation. We are going to read this about in the what is this process in the text later. So these 5 are the 5 gross elements of the nature. Very important to understand. So we see space, we see air, we see water, we see earth, we see fire. Because we see that, right? You see fire, you see water. So if you see it's a stula, do you see the space? Of course you do the space. If you say, can you sit on the chair? You don't go sit on a chair and somebody is sitting on it. You see this chair is empty. You can see the emptiness either by not seeing anybody else or there is vacuum. Everything you see. So by the definition, if you see, it is stula. The water you can see, fire you can see. So all this that we see in this world as a Panchabhuta or gross matter, primordial matter but gross in nature. So therefore, something should come into your mind. If it is gross, there must be a Suksha Panchaphutam. There must be a Sukshmam for the water, Sukshmam for the air, Sukshmam for this thing, because the logic flows very well, right? So right now, in the Sthula Sariram, it is Panchikritam, means it is made up of what? Pancha Mahabhutai. Kritam. Kritam means made up of Pancha Mahabhuta. What kind of Pancha Mahabhuta? Panchikrita Pancha Mahabhuta. What has been modified, grossified, from the grossified thing it came out. I'll just quickly tell you what it is so that we will know it later. When you go deeper into this, in every element, there will be three modalities of nature. What is modalities of nature? We use the word guna in Sanskrit, but unfortunately we misinterpret. Guna means character or attribute. No, guna is very different. It's a very fabric of nature. In everything, again for our own understanding, the Vedas have split this into three types of modalities, three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. They are used in so many different contexts. So I don't want you to think so deeply. Just take it right now in a simple way. Everything got these three modalities. So sattva is such a pure part of that. Rajas is an active part of that. Tamas is a latent part of it. If it is existing in everything, the space, the water, fire, earth, everything got these three parts in the natural state. So if you only take the tamasic part of it, of space, fire, all the Panchabhutas, only the tamasic part, and do something with that, that becomes the grossified space, air, everything. That's why the water that you see, it looks insentient. It has no sattvic part. The water doesn't think. The tree doesn't, the fire doesn't think. So we are going to talk about it later. So that's a Panchabhutas. From there the body was created. So all these eyes, bones, everything that we do, Sthula Sariram, it's basically created by all the physical organs, your nerve systems, all things that you can see outside, things that you don't see. If you cut your body, you can see inside your heart, lungs. And even if you cut, you can't see certain things. They are very finite, still a matter, stula matter, like dhatus, congealment, which converts the liquid part to solid. This rasa, rakta, rasa means the plasma, the hemoglobin of the body, blood, mamsa is the muscle, internal muscle, medas are the fat in the body, the bone, that's the majja. Majja means the marrows and the nervy endings. Shukra is this sperm and all this kind of creating rasas in your body. All these are gross. So some you see outside, some are inside. Now, since all this came out of this stula part, because it come out of the matter, the result should be also a matter, inert. So therefore the body is inert. The body is insentient. How do we prove it? Just look at the dead person. So something else has to happen to the body to become animated. Otherwise it's dead. But why do we have this body? With the body only you can experience the world. Bhoga ayatanam. Ayatanam means a house, abode, holding. In Mantra Pushpa we say, right? Yopa Pushpa Veda, Pushpavan, Pujavan, Pushpavan Bhavati. Ayatanam Veda, Ayatanavan Bhavati. The Surya Bhasana, when you worship the sun god, you say, Bhavati, may I get at this house. What house? A beautiful house, a beautiful body. Bhoga Ayatanam, let me get this house, not your 5-bedroom condominium house. This first house that you get is your own body itself. This is very important to understand. We clean Sunday, yeah, we must clean the house, vacuum it, now put everything else. But that is your secondary house. The first house is your body. When do we clean this body? When do we repair this body? So ayatanam. Because it's also very important, because if you do not have this physical body, you have no experience, no gross experience. You can't enjoy anything. If you can't enjoy anything, what does it mean? There's nothing to enjoy. What do you mean nothing to enjoy? The world is gone. The moment you don't have the physical body, the world does not exist for you. How do you prove it? You're a Vedantic student. You want to prove? Yes, the proof is your deep sleep. When you sleep, your physical body is not in your consciousness. The world is gone. What world? Even you are gone. You don't even know you are a man or a woman. Gender is gone. Pita, Mata, Pita, friends, Mitru, Chatru, everybody is gone. Nothing exists. Therefore, to have the bhoga, you need the body. Therefore, we treat the body with reverence. We don't, of course, the body will go through. We also read about this 6 different vikaras. It is in the womb. Garbhavasam is asti. Jayate is born. Vardate, it grows. Vipranimate, mate, mean it comes to a stage of maturity. It doesn't grow anymore. Maybe it goes sideways. Baseline goes in the east and west. Then it apakshite. It started decaying it in a city. And it is not just once, it just keeps on happening. Every body will have to this. So therefore, all this we learned last class. This is very important to understand. I'm repeating it, that's right. So therefore, what do we have derived from this? Because there's one more line here, Satkarmajanya. I mean, in some texts you only see Karmajanya, which is also a very proper reading, because Satkarmajanya means you can bring the Sat to the second word. So the Dukkadi Bhogayatam Sariram Sat. All the body from your karma. Pramanam is Vedas. Vedas tell you that if you do this punya and papa, we already talked about it, how it is accounted by Chitragupta. If you have lots of punya, very high proportion of punya, maybe your body is going to be a Gandharva. You do bhajans all the time, you sing all the time, you do good things. Maybe the next janma that you have, maybe like singing like a celestial being. Or you have such a low load of power. If I have done it, so then I become a scorpion because I've been stinging everybody with my bad words. Or I may have an equal balance or some sort of equality, then I may come back to this Narajanma. So the proof is on the pudding, so you need to really die to see it. But here what it means is that the karmas decide that embodiment. So therefore the body that I have has got a nature of going through the 6 changes. I can only bear a witness to it. I can't change it. I can maybe protect it, maybe nourish it a little bit better. See, if I use it apakshite, so it is going to decay. Therefore, I don't walk, I sit down at the house, then it becomes rotting. It must do exercise. If I do exercise, it becomes decaying. Well, there is no other choice. But what about finding some kaya kalpam and finding something and living forever? And I see in Puranas they're saying Siddhas are written, you do this thing and the Siddhi, you can live forever. What happened to those Siddhas who wrote all those things? They're gone. You may extend it, you may enlarge it, extend it for a while. But the nature of it is that it will vinashyate. Now, if you know it, if that's the case of it, if you know it, it's going to decay. What's the point of having dukkha on it? Or what's the point of getting overjoyed about it? No. So this is the very bitter but important truth. We don't need to worry when we're getting aged, older, eyes are not seeing it. Accept it. Yes, it is going to happen. But we can definitely say this is happening. People won't say that, I am aged, my body is getting aged. That's good, a right way of saying it, because you never age because you were never born. Therefore, we are able to say this Sula Sariram is Anatma. In the equation, the first variable, we can confidently say, yeah, it is not me. Now we go to the next one. The Sesha is asking now, Sukshma Sariram Kim? Apanchikrita Panchamahabhutehi Kritam Satkarma Janyam Sukha Dukkha Adi Bhoga Sadhanam Pancha Jnanendriyani Pancha Karmendriyani Pancha Pranadeha Manashekam Buddhishcheka Evam Saptadasha Kalabhi Saha Adhishtati Tat Sukshma Sariram. So again, the teacher has given a long list of words. Sukshma Shariram Kim. What is this Sukshma Shariram? Again, we will ask the questions. What is the use of it? What it is made up of? What caused it? And what's its nature? First one we go. Sukha, Dukkha, Bhoga Sadhana. See, you remember that in the gross body, Bhoga Ayatanam. It is it's a house by which we enjoy the Sukha Dukkha. Here, we say it is a sadhana. Sadhana means instrument. How do you prove it? Very simple. A person who is dead cannot enjoy. A person who is deep sleep cannot enjoy. The person who is not seeing a glorious sight outside because his eyes are closed, he can't see it. He can't enjoy it. Therefore, you have to apply an instrument of perception or knowledge which is endowed in you to enjoy the Sukham and Dukkha. Therefore, it is not good enough to have a Sula Sariram. I got a house now by which I can enjoy the happiness of life. That's not enough. You need to have the right instrument ready to apply. Through these instruments collection is Sukshma Sariram. Therefore, it clearly comes out. Since a dead person is not having any enjoyment of anything, therefore, in the dead person does not have Sukshma Sariram. Therefore, a definition that we can have in our mind, death is not having the Sukshma Sariram. So here we don't need to go there. Here we come back to the definition. I think it should be clear. So come back to this Sula Sariram. It's instruments of knowledge to experience. It's a Sukshma Sariram. Okay, clear to me. How is it made of? Just one letter difference to the definition of Sthula Sariram. Apanchikrita. Panchamahabodha Kritam. Panchamahabodha Bhutehi Kritam. Kritam means made up of Panchamahabhutas, But what kind of Panchamahabhutas? Apanchikrita. In Sthula Sariram is a Panchikritam. So Panchikritam means gross body. Apanchikritam means Sukshma body or your mind. So it is not gone through the quantification. Therefore, it does not have the tamasic part of it. So what is left in the Panchabhuta? I said there are three modalities of nature: Sattvam, Tamas, and Rajas. Tamas is taken to grossify the embodiments of objects in the world. What is left is Rajas and Sattva. They are in the primordial nature. They are absolutely pure. It is there in the Panchabhuta. They become, made up of them is your Sukshma Sarira. So all your senses, which you're going to talk in a minute, or Sukshma Sarira is made up of these Panchabhutas with their Rajas and Sattva quality. Again, how do we get that? Karmajanya. Its reason is your Pura Karmas. Same as the Sthula body. But there's a subtle difference. We'll come to the minute. But then he adds some more. Pancha, 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 Ekam, Ekam. 17 items, Saptadasa. We're going to make it Navadasa, 19. We take some liberty because it's important. But here he talks about the 17 of it. Pancha Jnanendriyani, Pancha Karmendriyani, Pancha Pranadya. So Jnana Indriyani, there are 5 Jnana Indriyas. I must know what it is. 5 Karma Indriyas, 5 Pranas, then Manas, then Buddhi, Saptadasaka, Kalabhi. Kala means Abhyayam, parts, elements. Kala got different meaning. Ambal is called Kala. She creates the part in the Ishvara. From that came other all fine arts. That's also Kala. So here this Sukshma Sarira got Saptadasa, 17 parts. What are the 7? Pancha Jnanendriyam, Pancha Karmendriyam, Pancha Pranam, Manas, and Buddhi. So we are therefore to have to learn the 17. Okay? Tat, see, it's very beautiful also here. Tat Sukshma Sariram. Whereas that he said, Etat Sthula Sariram. Etat means that is something in Sanskrit, as you know, grammar, it's something which you can see near. Sthula Sariram you can see. Tat, you cannot see. Sukshma Sariram. So you know what is expected now. So we need to understand each of those 5. So he is asking, the Guru himself saying, so before the Shishya I asked the question, Guru saying, Pancha Jnanendriyani, Bhagavachanam, Jnanendriyani, there are 5. So here again I would say, what are these, what powers this, and what is this? See here, Indriyas means the power, the energy, the force, which is subtle, which animates things. So in the Vedas, Devendra, Indra is worshipped because Indra is the power that animates the world. Indra is Brahman. It's not the Devendra that sits on the Airavata and enjoying the dance of the Apsaras and Urvisha. They are all Puranic personification to give us some sort of a understanding. So Indriyas are the power that animates. So there are 5 Indriyas and they are classified into 2 parts. What do you mean by animate? And animation means that we do things or know things. We may know things and therefore we do things, and vice versa. So the motor, the part that actually executes it, is the Sthula Sarira. So the knowing part is Jnana Indriyani. So what are the five senses? Sotram, Tvak, Chakshuhu, Rasana, Granam, Iti, Pancha Jnanendriyani. Sotra means ears, Tvak is the skin, Chakshuhu, the eyes, Rasana, the tasting tongue, Granam, the smelling nose. So in the literal translation, it goes as the ears, skin, eyes. But please do not think it's the ears as your physical eyes. It is the eye-ness, hearingness, the power of hearing, the power of seeing, the power of smell, the power of touch. They are called Jnanendriyani. See, Indriyas are the one that gives this power. When the power manifests for perception, where this Indriya Shakti becomes manifested power, that part is called Golakam in Sanskrit. So if you take the eye, this power of seeing, I may have an eye, but I can't see because I may be blind, I may be color blind. So many reasons. The physical eye has no power to see unless the Indriyam for seeing powers it. So the power of the Indriyam manifests at a particular point of my eye is called Golakam. When the Golakam is spoiled, you may have the eye, you cannot destroy the Indriyam. The seeingness is there, eye is there, the Golakam is gone, where there's the juncture of the Sukshma to Sthula is gone, and you will become blind. So here, whenever you read the book or something, when you see this eye, ears, for the Jnanendriyam and Karmendriyam, they are not the physical part, but the subtle parts. So he talks about the five things, which we all know. Then he gives two special things. He gives them the Devata for that power and what the power does. So let's just see what the power does. Srotasya Vishaya Sabdaghanam. Vishaya means what is the object of Srotra. Srotra means the ears. Sabdaghanam. I'm reading the last but third line. Sabdaghanam. Grahanam. Grahanam means to absorb, to take. Sabdagrahanam. To absorb, to accumulate, to acquire the sound. That's the objective of the ears. Tvacho Vishaya Sparshagranam. Tvacho means the skin. Vishaya object is Sparsa, touch, Grahanam. Chakshu Vishaya Rupa Grahanam. The eyes identify the Rupa. I mean, in right way, Rupa and Varna. Sometimes you can also find the Rupa by touching. You know, if you touch somebody's face, you may say that, okay, this is so and so. But Rupa includes Rupa, Varna. If you want to look at the Varna, you need to have the eyes. So eyes is the one which brings you Rupa Grana. Rasanyaya Vishaya Rasadana. The tongue brings the taste. See, this is very important because you can define the world in so many ways, right? The world is, I can say, world is a geography. A world is a, with rocks and mountains and water. A world is a different countries. Our world is made up of these five senses. Is it not? If I take the world and convert it to the five senses, they all fall into five senses. Therefore, we are talking about the power to perceive and enjoy the world into five categories. So never undervalue the power that we have to smell, to hear, to listen, to taste. But then he adds a Devata. Devata means a kind of a divine manifestation. Stotisya Dik Devata. For the ears, Dik means the Disha, the directions. See, we will go to the Vicharam some other time. Space is one thing, Dik is also space, but Dik is a vector quantity. Space is a scalar everywhere. Dik is east, west. So hearing got a Dik as a Devata. When you listen to, you are able to perceive, infer from which direction the thing comes. Sometimes you say, if you're not hearing, you say, yeah, can I hear you? So the power of space giving direction called Dik becomes the Devata for hearing. Same way, Vayuhu for the touch. Sakshushu Surya. The light of seeing is Surya. So Surya is the Devata for the eyes. If you go and see Jatakam horoscope, they'll say, sun is weak, therefore you may have the eye problem. They say, is it not? So this power of sun gives you the visibility, the power to see. Rasanyaya Varunaha. Of course, without water, you can't taste. A dry tongue cannot taste anything. Varunaha is water. Granasya Ashvinao. Ashvinao is again Dvaivachanam. Two Ashvin. There are two Devatas who rides on the horses all the time. They are responsible for the Granasya. Don't put any interpretation. I have two nostrils, therefore two Ashvina. There's nothing like this. There are two. That's it. Why do we have to worship them as Devata? Because the power is given to you, right? Power is God's grace. When the power comes to you, say, for example, I have water coming to my house from Thames or Ganges. It comes into my tap. Of course, the Ganges come to my tap, but it is tap water. So if it's not working, I go and repair the tap water. I clean the tap water. So I give a name, the manifestation of it. So when the God is revealed in so many forces, so many power, the beauty of Sanatana Dharma is to make it as a Devata. Why not? That's logical. The God is giving me the power to hear. The power, the manifestation of the power in hearing is my Devata for my hearing. Therefore, I worship it. Okay, when I want to repair, to call the plumber, I won't talk about the reservoir of Thames as a problem. It's my tap is the problem. Therefore, I do things to the tap. That's why when I have my bodily functions, my material pleasures I need, I don't go to the Parabrahman. Of course, you can go, but to make it easier, I can say, okay, this is the Devata for you. Worship them. That's the reason why we have 33 crores of Devatas, we say. It's not a laughable matter. It is not out of insanity or immaturity. It is to give you such a wonderful insight that every power, every manifestation of power is a Devata. So beautiful. So here he talks about the Jnanendriyani. So we can very easily see the Karmendriyani the same way. So he's saying Pancha Karmendriyani. Vak, Pani, Pada, Payu, Ubasthani iti Pancha Karmendriyani. This is Karma Indriyams. The power of divinity that makes you to do things. Before we saw to know things. Jnanendriyani is to know. Here to do. So this is split into 5 groups. Vak means the speech or the mouth or the tongue. Pani means your hand. Pada means your feet. Payu means your organs of excretion, your rectum, your anus. Upastha, upastha is your genitals. Iti pancha karmendriyani. Again, you should not think it's talking about the physical mouth or physical hand. I may have a hand and my hand cannot work anymore because it's got spine or whatever. So this is not the physical point. We are talking about the power of handling, the power of speaking, the power of moving, power of expelling things to be expelled, power of procreation. The tongue has got dual role. It is also a jnanendriyam when it is a rasna. That's why tongue is important thing. So control the tongue. It also a power to speak. See, everything, if you look at it, everything that we do is by these 5 organs. So what about my chest, my tummy, my food digestion? There are actions there, right? Why is not mentioned here? Well, because that you don't do. You don't digest. You don't even know how it gets digested. If you think about all this, you become very powerless. You become very humble and really adore the God for the wonder that is happening within you. You don't even know how you breathe, and you don't even know the food goes inside the mouth. You don't know how it gets digested. You can't. You don't know how you think, how thoughts come through. So all actions that are involuntary that happens, of course there are power there, but we are not studying all those things. We are looking at those which we own up ourselves. I did this. I went there. I spoke. I wrote. They are those Pancha Karmendriyani. Again, I think we already talked about it. What do they do? Last sentence we see. Vacho Visheka Bhashna. Bhashna means speaking, language, words. That is the object of the Vak. Panyor Visheka Vastu Grahanam. Holding objects. You can literally take handling things. You need a hand, working, writing, everything. Padayor Visheka Gamanam. Padam also is very important. Feet is important. It is one that holds you, sustains you. It is a beholder of yourself and takes you move around. Payor Visheka Malatyagaha. Mala means all that things that needs to be evacuated, excreted. That is the role of Pai, that organs. Upastasya Visheka Ananditi. The genitals gives you sukham because it used for the procreation. Now he also gives you the devata because these things have to function to lead. See, the procreation is to propagate your lineage. So for Grihastha, it is dharma. That's the reason why even sex is not seen as anything bad in a right ashrama dharma. So we have to really, everything is referential. So everything got a devata again. Vacho devataha Vagni. So here Vagni means Agni, fire. We say a lot of fairy speech, we say. So speech have to be blessed by the Vak Devata, who is Agni, fire. Hasto Indra. So the balam, the strength of your hand is from the Indra. Padayor Vishnu. There are a lot of, you can do a lot of commentary and give rationale for what all this, but that's okay. But here, if you want to do that, Vishnu is one who is a beholder of the whole universe. Sarvabhyabhi. He is the one holding the thing. And he is the one who measured the whole thing. He measured with his feet on Mahabali Chakravarti. But all these are just to give you some divinity, some shraddha on it. Payo Mrityu. Yama, the Lord of Death, is in the rectum, in the organs of excretion, the power excretion. That's why sometimes when they die, uh, they pass the stools or urine because that's the way that Mrityu has gone out. Prajapati, Upastasya Prajapati, in the power of procreation is come from Prajapati. Again, it is very apt because we see in Prajapati, the Brahma is the creator. Therefore, the God is that Brahma. Okay, so I just want to summarize this to give you this. You see, this Stula Sariram is in a different form, different Avyayam. Because if you're born as a crocodile, that's a crocodile body. Born as a ladybird, a ladybird body. Born as a lady's body. But the subtle body is called Sukshma Sariram, is also called the Linga Sariram. For right now, let us think it is inside us. Okay? There's another way of thinking also, it is outside us. We will do that later. So right now we think, I learned that there is a Stula Sariram, my gross body. I have a Linga Sariram or a Sukshma Sariram that's inside me. It's Lingam because you know how the Shiva Lingam is. No hand, no leg, nothing. You know, you can do Varnana of Shiva Narayana, Dakshinamurti, so many slogas because he sits in one particular position. There's a mudra, there's an ornament, jewel, long eyes. So less and less you can talk about it when the parts are not there. So the sages thought, because the impossible to describe the God, that impossibility in terms of form is a linga, something which has got a beginningless, endless shape with no end. Because our Sukshma Sarira is one that's going to choose the Stula Sarira, it is called a Linga Sarira. So we learn three things here. Of course, the first one is Sukha Dukkha, Bhoga Sadhanam. Then we also saw Apanchikrita, Panchamahabhuta Kritam. We also get this Linga Shariram based on our karma. But this is Apanchikrita. That means it is made up of subtle matter. Subtle matter means invisible matter, which is no tamasic in this. But it is still a matter. Therefore, anything made up of this should be inert. A very careful listener in you would have a question. I always thought my mind animate. See, the body is, I showed as an animated one there when compared to the subtle body. How can it animate? A thing that is inert, how can it animate? But there's a question that we have to resolve. But right now we go by another logic. It is coming from matter. Matter is inert, insentient. Therefore, this Linga Sarira should be inert. But we have it for our subtle experiences. Of course, we need it for all experiences. You can't have a Stula Sariram without the Sukshma Sariram, but also the subtle experiences. There are something which you can enjoy within yourself, in your mind. There's nothing outward needed. A mere thought may give you a joy. All that is because of your subtle body. So the Pancha Jnanendriyani are therefore inside. We saw. I just put that picture there, but it is not in one particular place. It is invisible, indescribable. It's somewhere there, but it manifests out into the Golakam in parts. For example, the Indriyani for Tvak, which gives you the sense of touch, the Golakam is all over the body. When the sense of listening, the Golakam should be in the eyes. So like that we have Pancha Jnanendriyani. Then we have these Pancha Karmendriyani. We saw that. Here again, inside the body, 10 of them. Then there are Pancha Prana. But if you look at the sloga and the text, the Sishya asks the next question, Karana Shariram Kim. So there is something missing in the text. The text is not explaining what is this Pancha Prana. Also, it talks about two subtle powers of mind, Manas and Buddhi. So I would have expected the Guru to say Pancha Pranani iti something. It is not in the text. Therefore, we have to assume in the propagation of it, this has been gone, deleted, gone somewhere. But we will address that one. So if you're able to give me maybe 8 to 10 minutes, I would close this one. Is it okay?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So we would also make this these two subtle powers of mind into 4 subtle powers of mind. We are not violating the rule, but we are making it a little bit expanded so that the same thing is explained somewhere in the text. Therefore, it's easy for us. So we have learned the Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, but to complete the Sushma Sariram, you should learn about the Pranas and the mind. So, Pancha Prana. Word prana is very important. Prana means, we say pranayamam, we say pranayam. So, in the air is outside, it is vayu, the air. The moment it goes inside, it becomes prana. When you do the prana, when you take the vayu and take it inside the body, and then in the way of doing it, if you do an ayamam or ayam means extending it or retaining it, that exercise becomes pranayama. But here he talks about pancha prana. It means the prana is taken into 5 parts. So let's call this life energy. Why we call life energy? The last thing that you see is that if a person is alive, whether he is breathing or not. The breathing is gone. The movement of the prana is absent. We declare them dead. Therefore, the energy of life is exemplified, or rather I would say that given by this prana shakti. So what this is an indriyam, and it is set in the right order because the life is shown by your animated parts of your body. Therefore, the animated indriyas are pancha jnanendriyani, pancha karmendriyani, and even they are animated by the prana. Therefore, prana is fundamental. Because if you, for example, you are not able to hear me anymore because the lunchtime has come. So when the food is, hunger comes in, hunger is come by the agni in the stomach. The agni is framed by a vayu there. It rises, it now is the time to get food. So what they are, very quickly we see, the subset also called a prana. So the whole thing is prana. We are now going to divide into 5. The first one is also, it's so important, we use the same name, prana. I'm not giving a perfect definition here because we don't need to. There are a lot of differences, but I give you what is important to understand. Prana is respiration. Prada gamana vayu is the prana. It's a proper definition. But anyway, the air that inhaled and then it goes out, that cycle of respiration, that air is called prana. And that You know, in the pranayama, basically what we do, we take the prana and then we retain it, expel it out. Don't take the prana and then take the prana inside. So there are a lot of methods on it. So here we're talking about the air, the power of air that goes in and out is called the prana. It is a life energy. And when it goes inside, it tries to take out things that are not needed to be in the body, and it goes downwards flow. It's called evacuation. The power of evacuation is propelled by a part of this prana called apana. Passing stools. When a mother delivers a baby, that baby is pushed out. That power of pushing out is apana. Then this air has to supply energy to everything else. It goes around the whole body. It's called vyana. Vyana makes the blood to flow, nerves to carry things. It is all over the body, just going around. It's just one breathing you take, a part of it get modified, becomes vyana, and goes around this body. That's why, in Corona, when the respiratory system comes in, they put a ventilator and everything to somehow send this prana inside so that it can do these functions. Samana is assimilation of all other bhogas that we get inside, food, everything. You get assimilated. I showed you before the dhatus. When you eat an apple gets digested and it is converted into the stomach's rajas and sattva qualities, and each part of it, the sattva goes to mind. When you eat an apple, probably you write a better poetry. I'm just joking. So you get some thinking. Or you take a Bhagavad Prasadam, you eat the Prasadam, you feel better. That mind becomes better. And some part goes into a rasam, some parts go into majja. This is done by samana. Not by samana alone. Samana is the air that propels the jadakni, the agni in your stomach, digestive fire. It is propelled by this. The last is the most rarest of it, important part, called udana. Udana is the exceptional part of the power of prana, called resistive part. It goes against it, against the system. Everything goes down, right? So apana goes down, yana circulated out, goes down. Exhalation also, in a way, apana, it goes out, down. But udana is always resist. It comes out when it is needed. I'll give an example. So if you are doing Sirasasana, you're sitting upside down, and somebody is giving you a prasad and you want to eat it. You are doing a head upside down when you eat. What happened? The food will still go through your passage to your tummy. You are standing upside down. It is going against the gravity. Udana is doing this stuff. Or you got some pollen comes into your nose or eyes, then you sneeze, tears come out. Udana is acting. Exceptional power comes out. So you want that power to be exceptional, because if you are sneezing all the time, you're going to disease. So therefore we need to pray to Devata, Udana, to please be there. Panchaprana Devata, you do pranayama, you do all these things. So this 5 powers of prana, when you do pranayama, because by doing what do they say is pariksha, kala diksha. So when you have this, when you define this as the rechakam, kumpakam, and all kind of stuff that. So if I take this, 3 seconds of inhale and 6 seconds of keeping it in, and then 6 seconds of exhaling, I get some power and things like that. So there are so many different schools of thought. But the important point is that treasure the breathing. Even if you take, I would solemnly request you that before you, for example, this class and any such good things you do, 5 minutes to sit down, just enjoy the breathing. First time, see that you are inhaling exhaling. Because when you inhale and exhale, your mind becomes calmer. So I would not go into the power of mind because I think it will take me some more time. So I stop here. So what you have now learned in this class, we started the Sukshma Sariram. We see the Jnanendriyani, Karmendriyani. Then what is not in the text, Pancha Prana. So we saw the Pancha Prana. And in the next session, we'll probably finish off the mind for the Sukshma Sariram. Then we'll have an interesting question about what is the cause of the Sukshma Sarira and why I have all this body. So probably we will do that to finish the Sariratrayam. So with that, I will close it. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.
Thank you, Raja. I hope we will be able to do that next week's proposed summary of the 10th chapter in the Vedantic light. I mean, if there is any problem, we will change.
Sure. I will do that. Then maybe we can, if everybody is okay, I will do this on the Vedanta, the class after next.
Okay. Thank you. So, Mr. Natu, please.
Asatoma Sadgamaya
Asatoma
Sadgamaya
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya
Tamasoma
Jyotirgamaya
Mrityorma Amardangamaya
Amritamgamaya
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om
Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Because today the attendance is a bit thinner because I think many people have different engagement. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's all in the game. Anyway,
Bye.
thanks, Raj.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Traseva.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
tomorrow, I mean next week, hopefully we will be finishing the